So let me move on and talk about prevention and intervention and what you can do to help families get the sleep they need. First of all, let me talk about what the research says. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine developed the standards of practice. It was published in 2006, just last fall, and it really was a large project looking at every single study that's ever been done on behavioral treatments of infant and toddler sleep disturbances. I chaired this task force, and there was a number of people on it globally around the world who looked at all of the literature. And what we found, as you'd expect, is that behavioral treatments produce a reliable and durable change, and 94% of studies found that behavioral treatments are efficacious. So what does that mean? What do I do clinically? Clinically, I do with all my patients is 3 steps. First of all, set sleep times. We want all infants and toddlers going to bed the same time every night, waking up the same time every morning, and having naps around the same time. It sets their internal clock. You also don't want bedtime too late. A later bedtime leads to sleep deprivation. Infants and toddlers who are sleep deprived have a harder time falling asleep, and they wake up more frequently during the night. Second thing, a bedtime routine. I'm going to come back to this a little bit, but what we know is that 3 to 4 quiet activities every night in the exact same order is going to help infants and toddlers settle down to get ready for bed. And finally, self-soothing to sleep. We want babies and toddlers put to bed drowsy but awake. We know that if they fall asleep independently, when they naturally wake up during the night, they'll be able to put themselves back to sleep. I only focus on bedtime. We know that if an infant or toddler falls asleep on their own at bedtime, it will naturally generalize, and the research shows it generalizes to the middle of the night. So let me go on back and talk a little bit more about a bedtime routine. So I want to talk about a study that we conducted with Johnson's, and we looked at both a 3-step before bed routine for both infants and toddlers. Infants, we looked at 7 to 18-month-olds. This was a study where we had a control group of 72 infants and a routine group of 58 infants. In the control group, they just did their usual nightly routine for 3 weeks straight. For the routine group, we did a 3-step before bed routine. The first step was a bath, the second step was a massage, and the third step was quiet activities. For toddlers, 18 to 36-month-olds, we had 66 toddlers in the control group, and then randomly assigned across both groups, we had a routine group of 134 toddlers for a study that had a sample of 200 toddlers. Again, we had a control group that did a nightly routine for 3 weeks, and the routine group did a bath, an application of lotion, and quiet activities. And quiet activities here, parents did things like talking about the day, reading stories. So let me orient you to what the data show. On all of these slides, what you'll see is on the left-hand side is the infant data, on the right-hand side are the toddler data. Okay? In all of them, you'll see the control group is on the left side with a baseline comparison to week 3. Okay? And in every single variable I'll show you, there was no significant difference in the control groups for baseline versus week 3. Okay. For this variable sleep onset latency, what you find is that for the routine group, there was a 37% reduction in sleep onset latency. And for the toddlers, it was a 20% reduction. Duration of night wakings, how long were they awake in the middle of the night? An almost 50% decrease for both infants and toddlers in the routine group, and again, no difference for the control group. Finally, for the longest continuous sleep period, which I think is almost the most important variable here, is how long did the baby sleep for continuously? So we're looking at consolidated sleep. And what you find is that there was almost an hour, a little bit more than an hour and a half increase for infants and more than an hour increase in toddlers. So the data I'm showing you are not just statistically significant, but really are clinically significant. This makes a difference for families. We're talking about a toddler who is now sleeping instead of 6 or 7 hours straight, 8 to 9 hours straight. Also, we looked at the moms, and what we found was that maternal tension decreased as well as maternal fatigue. So not only did the infants and toddlers feel better and sleep better, but also the moms did. They probably felt more in control of the situation, and we assume got more sleep as well because their infant and toddler was sleeping better. The final thing I want to talk about are some additional tricks of the trade, some things that you can suggest to your patients to help those families get a better night's sleep. So some additional tricks of the trade for infants. One of the most difficult things for parents to really struggle with is where to put feedings in terms of the bedtime routine. And this is especially true for nursing moms. What we want is we want the feeding at the beginning of the routine. So we want moms nursing, then doing bath, massage, and quiet activities. Parents sort of want to top off their baby. They want to give a baby their feeding at the last possible moment. It really doesn't make any difference in how often a baby wakes up at night, but it does help babies to have a routine where they fall asleep independently without nursing to sleep. A dream feeding is a great thing to add around 10, 11 o'clock at night before parents go to bed. So the parents wake the baby up, give the baby a feeding, and then they can head to bed themselves. One of the most difficult things for parents is to go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, fall asleep quickly, and then be woken a half hour later. So this helps parents get sleep as well as have a feeding for the baby. Some additional tricks of the trade for toddlers. Things like bedtime charts. Developing a chart that shows the bath, the application of lotion, the putting on pajamas, the 2 stories. It helps both the toddler stay on track. It also helps parents stay on track. And there's much less struggles about, will you read another story? I need another drink of water. You want that bedtime chart to show every step of your child's routine and include every potential request. Some other things, making the last step of the bedtime routine a preferred activity, making a favorite thing so the toddler wants to head to bed. Sticker charts are great. I don't know why, but toddlers love stickers. So setting up a chart that shows that if you get into bed and you stay in bed, you get a sticker in the morning. Some other things like the good morning light is setting up a timer, a night light on a timer that goes off at 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. It helps toddlers to know when it's time to get up for the day. So you don't have parents struggling with a toddler showing up at 4 o'clock in the morning or calling out and that toddler saying, is it morning yet? A good morning light will give that message to a toddler. And finally, 2 other things. There's an online tool available for parents called the Sleep Assessment Profile. This is a wonderful online tool for parents where they input information about their child's sleep. It gives back a comparison of their child's sleep to other children of the exact same age, and it also gives customized information on how to help that child sleep better. Second is the Johnson Sleep Space. It gives information about the best bedtime routine for infants and toddlers. Thank you very, very much.